Indonesia or English. Bapak sekalian yang saya hormati, tentu saja event ini sebuah hal yang langka dan mahal bagi kita. Oleh karena itu, saya berharap bisa diikuti dengan sebaik-baiknya dari awal sampai dengan akhir. I'd like to say thank you very much to the committee for kindly working together to arrange this international conference. Also, I'd like to express my appreciation to all of the speakers who kindly participated to share knowledge, insight, and experience in this conference on the state, law, politics, and democracy, and all of the participants who joined this international conference were both student faculty of law and also master degree of law from Pamulang University. This event is a part of the academic culture to extend our learning resources, encourage our students on increasing their knowledge, and add an international insight, especially on state law, politics, and democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, the state, law, politics, and democracy are basic principles for the good governance of any state in the world. So that is an interesting thing to discuss together because it is a very dynamic thing and so important to be understood. And indeed, we do need to widen our insight at the international level. That means the topic of the conference today is a very important topic to discuss deeply, to reinforce our knowledge regarding the point of view on state, law, politics, and democracy. We do love democracy in our country and in the worldwide very much. Bapak sekalian yang saya hormati, terutama rekan-rekan mahasiswa, tentu saja upaya untuk memperluas wawasan, memperdalam pemahaman, apalagi yang bersifat internasional, salah satunya adalah mengikuti berbagai pertemuan yang sifatnya ilmiah. Dan oleh itulah maka kembali saya sampaikan bahwa forum ini menjadi sangat penting supaya saudara-saudara memiliki pemahaman dari para narasumber yang berasal dari luar negeri termasuk dari dalam negeri, terutama dari Filipina, India, dan Korea Selatan. Kita tahu bahwa demokrasi kita bangun adalah untuk kesejahteraan. Dan oleh karena itu, kita bisa benchmarking tentang berbagai hal yang terkait dengan demokrasi, agar kita memiliki voice atau bijak dalam memandang sesuatu, terutama dalam konteks politik, demokrasi, bagian dari upaya dalam meningkatkan kesejahteraan masyarakat. Oleh karena itu, sekali lagi kami berharap bisa diikuti dengan baik dan semoga Allah Subhanahu wa taala bisa memberikan kemudahan dan kelancaran kepada kita. Bapak sekalian yang saya hormati, dengan mengucap Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, officially I open this international conference on the state, law, politics, and democracy. Thank you very much and good luck. Terima kasih. Allahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Director of Pamulang University, for opening this international conference.
The following agenda is the opening remarks will be delivered by the CEO of Sasmita Jaya Group Foundation, and please welcome the Honorable Mr. Dr. Pranoto S.A. MM.
Of the Pamulang University, fellow speaker, Mr. Bano Prakas Nuna PhD from University of India, Mr. Elmer M. Suryano PhD from Polytechnic University of the Philippines, and Mr. Jungko Kang from South Korea, and to all of audience joining us. Allow me to thank Pamulang University for the opportunity as the acting Director General of Legislation, Ministry of Law and Human Rights, to deliver a keynote speech at the Second International Conference on Social, Law, Politics, and Democracy, an important international conference attended by distinguished speakers and participants from various countries. I'd like to welcome two speakers from India, Philippines, and South Korea to Indonesia. I hope you enjoy the warm and Indonesia hospitality while you are in here. In 2020, which just attended, I recall two significant events that I can highlight related to the current conference, them related to social, law, politics, and democracy, namely the Indonesia presidency in the 2020 G20 activities and promulgation of criminal code, or what used to call us KUHP. Ladies and gentlemen, as a premier forum for international economic cooperation, the G20 even plays a crucial role in facing challenges and issues, both globally and here in Indonesia. The last G20 in Bali significantly impacted overall national economic recovery in important sector, especially amid the war between Russia and Ukraine, where some Western countries said they would refuse to come in. Here we invite Russia. The decision to invite or not invite Russia tests Indonesia leadership as the originator of the non-regnite movement to play in free and active foreign policy. In this free and active Indonesia foreign policy, Indonesia can freely determine its attitudes and approach to dealing with global issues and uphold a neutral position. In short, Indonesia makes its own decision on foreign relations without being controlled by other countries' political interests. President Joko Widodo also emphasized that the G20 summit is an economic forum, not a political one. Indonesia G20 has produced concrete deliverables in project, program, or initiative to lead example for sustainable development by utilizing international cooperation and multi-stakeholder rules. Furthermore, this concrete deliverable will be outlined in the leaders' declaration in the next session and expected to become Indonesia legacy for the G20. House representative promulgated the draft criminal codes as criminal code at the plenary meeting on the 6th December 2020. This ratification was a historic movement in Indonesia. The implementation of criminal law, after years of using the Dutch colonial produced criminal codes, Indonesia has criminal codes. Indonesia has used the Dutch criminal code since 1618, and a code up to now it has been 104 years. Indonesia has been trying to formulate criminal law reform since 1663 because the Dutch criminal code is no longer relevant to development and the needs for criminal law in Indonesia. And it is become urgent to ratify criminal code bill. The criminal code bill is also reformative, progressive, and responsive to Indonesia's current situation. In its drafting process, the government and the House Representatives have tried to accommodate various inputs, ideas from the entire society through public participation. In total, there were 14 crucial issues submitted in 2019 based on the discussion and review by experts. The government openly removed two issues related to fraudulent advocates and practicing doctor and reformated articles associated with insulting state institutions and several other provisions. Ladies and gentlemen, based on the two samples presented, it is clear that there is a link between social, legal, and political value, especially in Indonesia. In the first sample related to the G20 Indonesia, even though the geopolitical condition demanded Indonesia choose the party gates by a free and active foreign policy. Indonesia still took a stand not to be dictated by foreign power. In the second example, when viewed the state context, criminal code doesn't concern only criminal law per se, but it is also relevant to Indonesia pluralism, identity, and regulating social relation among the citizen and between the state and the citizen, which originated from Pancasila as the source of state's law. In the end social studies, law and political, and within the same family, namely and humaniora. Ladies and gentlemen, before I finish, I also want to remind you that 2023 and 2024 are political years, general election to elected the president, member of the governor, and mayor will be held simultaneously, and it will determine Indonesia law face for the next 5 years. Indonesia has the just last democracy in the world and also the most diverse mass, so that we can maintain the diversity that has united Indonesia so far. We hope that the conference which involves very competent speakers with such quality and caliber from within the outside the country can provide us with insights. Pamulang University can also convey the conference discussion result to policymakers to ensure that decision making is always carried out by considering in people interests above personal and group interests. Ladies and gentlemen, let me once again thank all of Pamulang University and the fantastic speaker for giving the time and insight today. And I hope all of you watching enjoy the conference. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Acting Director of Legislation, Dehana Putra. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to keynote speaker, Mr. Dr. Dana Putra, PCIP, HMSI PLT, Director General of Legislation, Ministry of Law and Human Rights, Republik Indonesia.
Let us keep on the next agenda, which is the plenary session. During this session, there will be a discussion, opinion, question, and answer, which be led by our moderator. Salutation, our moderator, Mr. Dr. Andes Adrian, SMMPD.
Thank you, MC. Yep. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Wassalatu wassalamu asrofil anbiya wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi washabihi ajmain. The Honorable, the CEO for the Pamulang University, Dr. Pranoto, SMM, and all participants. I think today the students do not come, all of them, because this is a holiday season. And then I see the participant very sleepy, I guess. Yeah. So I'd like to invite the first one. This is the second international seminar, which is held by program postgraduate and the first degree of the Faculty of Law. And would like to all the lecture, yes, the honorable all the lecture from another university, Borobudur University. Thank you very much for the paper. Yep. And then all the students, first graduate and the second graduate, thank you very much for coming here. Yep. Today we would like to share the knowledge. Yeah, we have 4 speakers today. Yep, there are 3 of them from another country, from Philippines, from India, from Korea, and our lovely country from Indonesia. So I'd like to invite them, one of them, the first speaker would like to invite, the first speaker. Will you please come to the stage, Mr. Oxydelva, Dr. Oxyvelda Yanto, SMA, will you please come to the stage? Next, will you please, the second speaker from India, Dr. Danu Prakash, PhD, come to the stage, will you please? Yes, the third from Philippines, Dr. Elmer Yarno, will you please come to the stage? And the last, from Korea, will you please, Dr. Khan, will you please, yes, give applause for the speaker. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, they have already come into our university, so I have to sit here. Yeah. So we goes to the next agenda. As usual, our university usually, this is a Faculty of Law held the program of the topic SLPD. Yeah, and it means that ICon-SLPD, State Law, Politics, and Democracy. And they will share with us about the knowledge, share about the government, it's about epistemology and the government. So I'd like to read the first speaker from our university. We read about the Faculty of Law. We have the Dean, Faculty of Law, Dr. Oxydelva Yanto. Will you please, yes, you may start for the presentation. And then the rule for today, all the speaker may have present. They have 15 minutes to present all the speaker. And then after that, and after all the speaker, the question will be asked one by one. And after maybe, if you would like to ask the question, you may raise your hand and then mention your name, raise your hand, and then your faculty. Is that right? So we go to the first speaker. Will you please welcome Dr. Oxydelva Yanto as the first speaker from Indonesia. Yeah, you may start. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Adian. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, the Honorable to all the leader of Pamulang University, Dr. Nur Zaman, Vice Rector, Dean of Faculty, Head of Study Program, the keynote speaker, Dr. Dahana Putra, all distinguished guests, all seminar committees, Chairman Conference, Dr. Yoyon M. Darusman, recent person, Mr. Banu Prakash from India, Mr. Yung Ko Feng from South Korea, Mr. Elmer Suryano from the Philippines. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Pamulang University. and nice to meet you. Welcome to Pamulang University, all lecturer and all students from Faculty of Law and Magister of Law, and all students from Faculty of Law, and as fellow student participating from outside the Pamulang University. And I don't forget to give all my respect for ladies and gentlemen who have been present in this international conference. From I am Oxidal Fayanto, Magister of Law, the Dean and Faculty of Law and Head of Law, Faculty Magister of Pamulang University. And I will present as fellow my material that I have with entitled Law Enforcement in a rule of law country to create legal justice and expediency. Please, operator. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia a state of law. Before the amendment to 1994 Constitution, Indonesia is state based in a state of law. Meanwhile, after the amendment to the 1945 Constitution, right, Indonesia is state of law. Historically, the concept of rule of law emerged in various models, including a rule of law according to the concept of constitutional Europe civil law, called Rechtsstaat, which was developed by Julius Stahl. There are 4 elements adopted by this concept, namely protection of human rights, division of power, government based on law, and existence of administrative core. While the rule of law, according to the concept of Anglo-Saxon, US UK, common law is called the rule of law. The rule of law concept was developed by AFDC. This legal system has elements, namely the rule of law, equality before the law, and guaranteed human rights. From the review sitting, the opinion of several legal experts above, it is clear that the existence of human rights. Human right is one of the characteristic of the rule of law. Human right is very important element and must be contained explicit in the administration of the rule of law. According in Montesquieu, the best country is rule of law country because the constitution of many law country contain 3 main points, namely, number 1, human right protection. Number 2, determination of the set hand of a country, and number 3, limiting the power and authority of state organ. Even Franz Magnus Suseno, an Indonesia religious figure of philosopher or German design, state that a democracy which is not a rule of law is not democracy. Democracy is the safest way to maintain control over the rule of law. It can be ascertained that almost all countries in the world are rule of law, but at their 2 different constitutions according to the type of state of law that is enforced. the reason for a country to become a rule of law. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world of are rule of law and protection of human rights. Two different constitutions according to the type of state of law demand pillar in law enforcement. Namely, the reason for a country to become a rule of law office. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world of are rule of law but protection of human rights. Two different constitutions according to the type of state of law demand pillar in law enforcement. Namely, the reason for a country to become a rule of law office. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world of are rule of law but protection of human rights. Two different constitutions according to the type of state of law demand pillar in law enforcement. Namely, the reason for a country to become a rule of law office. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world of are rule of law but protection of human rights. Two different constitutions according to the type of state of law demand pillar in law enforcement. Namely, the reason for a country to become a rule of law office. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world of are rule of law but protection of human rights. Two different constitutions according to the type of state of law demand pillar in law enforcement. Namely, the reason for a country to become a rule of law office. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world of are rule of law but protection of human rights. Two different constitutions according to the type of state of law demand pillar in law enforcement. Namely, the reason for a country to become a rule of law office. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world are rule of law but protection of human rights. Two different constitutions according to the type of state of law demand pillar in law enforcement. Namely, the reason for a country to become a rule of law office. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world are rule of law but protection of human rights. Two different constitutions according to the type of state of law demand pillar in law enforcement. Namely, the reason for a country to become a rule of law office. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world are rule of law but protection of human rights. Two different constitutions according to the type of state of law demand pillar in law enforcement. Namely, the reason for a country to become a rule of law office. Law is for the second B of democracy legitimacy. That almost all countries for demand in the world are rule of law
development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are rule of development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are rule of development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are rule of development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are rule of development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are rule of development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are rule of development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are rule of development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are rule of development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are rule of development, but protection of human rights, Constitution, according to the type of government law enforcement. Namely, there is police country, rule of office, can be legitimasi. There are most countries in the world are areas of human rights. Terima kasih.
Only 5% have a great deal knowledge of the 1987 Constitution. For those who knows, for those who answered the previous question that they know the fundamental law. Okay? Then the next one, not a great deal but a sufficient amount. 21% only. And then a little knowledge has 43%. And almost none or no knowledge at all for those who answered yes to the previous question. Okay, next. For Table 4, whether it is appropriate to amend the present Philippine Constitution at this time or not. Only 18% says yes. In the question, in your opinion, should the 1987 Constitution be amended or not amended at this time? For those who answered yes, it's only 18%. And for those who said no, it should be amended now, is 67. So Look at the confusion again. 67% view the previous slide, the previous question, we have little knowledge about the Constitution. So there is an instant answer about it. Okay? With 67. And then 14% answered that they don't know or they cannot say something about it. Next. Table 5, whether or not it is appropriate to amend the present Philippine Constitution. So this is the same slide, I guess. Just repeat. Next. Table 6, the knowledge of the proposed federal system. This is one of the campaigns of President Duterte during his term, that he would like to make the Philippines federal to address some issues of the concentration and then decentralization or dispersal of power or empowering the local government units. This is the main ingredient of his proposal to amend the Constitution, the institutionalization or implementation of the federal system, which he believes that it is appropriate for the Philippines because of its diversity and its geographical feature. Remember, we are both an archipelago. So we have difficulties in different areas, especially in the distribution of the things that must be felt by the people. Okay? The question is, how would you describe the amount of knowledge you have regarding the proposed federal system? Okay, for those who answered, yes, I have a great deal, I have sufficient knowledge, it's only 31%. Okay? But those who said that they have a little or no knowledge at all, again, this is 69%. In short, 69% says that I don't know anything about the federal system. Okay? Next slide. Next slide, please. Whether or not in favor of the changing the present unitary system to federal system, the question is, are you in favor or not in favor of changing the present unitary system of government and having a federal system of government in the country? Despite the little or no knowledge, some says that they are in favor. Okay? But 62% says that they are not in favor. So, why am I saying this, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, as a backgrounder, next slide please. As a backgrounder, our premise, when I started to talk about changes and then social laws and then democracy in the Philippine context, most of the Filipinos are really aiming to change the bad things that we experience, the bad things that we had before. But when we are trying to make the initial steps or initial efforts, we found out that there is really a big problem when it comes to telling the people about the system that what we have. Okay? And then changing the system of government or making some reforms is not as easy as we would like to snap and then there will be some changes. We have to do it properly, ladies and gentlemen, in our country, but here are the findings. Next step. Next slide. More. One more. Yan, okay. These are the conclusions. Colonization has caused the Filipinos to forget its real identity or real Asian ancestry, and then the tendency of duplicating too much, if not all, is we tend to believe that what is applicable to the colonizers may only be applicable to the colonies, despite the differences in all aspects. And then the survey shows that there is a strong desire from among the respondents to call for reforms, but they deny.
Gain global competitiveness. So the meaning is they don't worry, they don't care about the fail. They try it by their technologies. But how about the Indonesian company? This is my 100% my individual opinion, okay? Maybe you have a different opinion, but this is, as the foreigners who stay here 20 years, I have this kind of opinion that this is the result of the business view of the companies that direct import of famous overseas product or producing product by overseas technical license are advantageous for securing some profitability than local made product that are highly likely to fail or have not been verified. This makes those two companies difference that. Okay, next page, please. So, I will make you upset again, more. Where is Indonesia? Okay, Korea and China, I can say they quietly follow this track. Step one, stages of attracting foreign companies and technological cooperation. So at the step one, China and Korea, they adopted, they asking foreign investors. That is step one. Step two, enlargement of the domestic companies. Step three, driving export through the technical advancement. Step four, globalization of the domestic companies. So, last time about, what's that, almost 1 year or two before this pandemic situation, I have many friends who works in Vietnam. At that time, we discussed by the Zoom, what is the difference between Vietnam and Indonesia? And then they asked me, we said that after 5 years, which country will be bigger than the other country? Of course, at that time I said to them, of course, Indonesia. But they said that Vietnam. But this is my opinion. Vietnam is just between step 2 and step 3. I believe that after 5 years, they will be around the step 3. But Indonesia, sorry for saying this, just one middle step 1 and step 2. So this is my opinion that. Next page. So this is my last page then. What should you do for your country? Can Indonesia become a country, the world's fourth largest GDP in 2030 as a forecast of the World Bank? And a country that can host the 2036 Olympics, which is saying by your president, Pak Jokowi. What should you do? The first one, the younger generation like you must be changed.
radically and completely. You should be changed then. Even you are very young. When I compare with when I was young, almost same age with you, at the time, we are very hungry. We have to do anything to get the job. Even for the study, I cannot sleep. For one day, only 3 or 4 hours only sleep. I have to study because I have to pass the examination of the Samsung Fire Marine to join there. But here, how about you? I don't think many people, many young students, they only sleep only 3 or 4 hours to get the job. So you should be changed completely. The second one, the younger generation should be armed with the confidence that they can do it. They can do it. You can do that. You know why I came here, Indonesia, 3 times, and I stay here almost 20 years? Because I like Indonesia, I know that. I live here with my family over there. You know why? They do like the Indonesia. So I want, really, Indonesia will be the biggest tiger in Asia. And then, the business spirit, this is very important. That is not afraid of failure, of the localization or local made must be cultivated. Don't just import it. Try to make your own technology, to make your own product by your technology. Don't just rely on global brand. Please. Your country automaker has to establish their own factory in Korea or Japan or China. Why? Many Japanese car makers, even the Hyundai, they came here. You should not allow it. That. The last one. This one, little bit related with today's theme of the conference. The transparency in whole of the society must be secured. As the Korean, as the foreigners, which has spent almost 20 years in Indonesia, the no good thing in Indonesia is that there is nothing can be done. There is nothing cannot be done. So this is very gray area, some part. So I hope this transparency in whole of the society must be secured. So maybe there are any other fact which should be there, but this 4 fact is the most important fact for make Indonesia to be the biggest tiger in Asia. So please, young generation in Indonesia, please wake up. Should be changed. Please, I hope Indonesia will be the biggest tiger within 5 years to beat the Vietnam, okay? So I hope that. Please, I pray for the Indonesia, and then I love Indonesia. Thank you.
Yes, that's good. Wow. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Now come to the question and answer. Yeah, you may ask the question, you may raise your hand and then mention your name and then your semester. Yeah, we open question 1 or 2 question. So, who would like to, you may raise your hand if you would like to ask the question. So which one? You? Yes, sir?
Okay, thank you for the time. I would like to ask a simple question, but I hope you understand my English. It's very, very limit. My question is for Mr. A professor from Bangalore University. I'm so sorry, I'm not remember your name. Because it is too hard for me.
Mr. Banu.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Banu.
So you may mention your name, please.
Yeah, okay. Baik. My name is Daniel. I'm second semester from Magister program, Magister Law program. And I'm from Timor, a small city in Nusa Tenggara Timur. Okay. My question is according or in line on your explanation in your material. In your explanation, you told us that victims, crime victims has many rights. So I agree. I agree with your argumentation. But at the same time, I would like to ask you, how do we support crime victims in sociological law perspective? As we know, in society, people can say and do anything. People can change the crime victim's name with the crime that the victim is a victim of. So, again, how we can support the crime victim in sociological law perspective? Thank you. I hope you understand my question with my English that is very, very limited. Thank you. Thank you.
So, you answer? Okay, you may answer. How do we support the victim? Yeah.
Thank you. That's a very good question. I see there is some interest kindled for victimology, which is very inspiring. Okay, I was discussing with your dean, Professor Oxy, just a while ago that your university should set up a center for victimology, victimological research, something like that, to do advanced studies in victimology, since most of you are law graduates, some of you are going to master in law program. So it's important for the lawyers to get orientation about victim suffering, victim reactions, victim support. So it's important that you all get the orientation in this field. So when you practice, you also have the victimological sense of understanding of victims, and so you can holistically support them. That's different from what I want to answer. My answer to your question is that as a society, so it is not just a police or a lawyer or an advocate or a judge's responsibility to support the victim. As us fellow human beings, we also have a collective social responsibility to take care of the victims. When a crime happens, we all get bothered, we all get affected. And similarly, the victims are also the ones who are the first receivers of this crime, and they get immensely affected by what is going on with them. So as a society, we share a collective social responsibility in terms of assisting them, not just assisting, but being mindful about how are we interacting with them, what kind of language and tone are we using, are our language victim blaming, are we secondarily victimizing them? They have gone through a traumatic experience, they are undergoing trauma, they are in a lot of distress and pain. Are we being empathetic enough towards them in terms of communicating and providing the required support that is required for them? So a lot of help that is given, even with a good intentions, sometimes can be misleading and harming in nature. So it's important for all of us to be trained in a sense that we always tend to be sensitive towards the victims. As a society, we have this burden on us. It's important that we have to be mindful and do not cause further harm to the victims. So that's one. In order to provide support, it's important that we have integrated support mechanism available. Like I said, there are derivative regulations that Indonesia must start working on. Passing a law does not fulfill the requirements of the victims. You also need to provide the enough resources to be able to support the victims in an adequate manner. You need to have counseling centers. You need to have police who are trained, who are sensitive in terms of understanding the victim needs, victim reactions, and then victims in the process of criminal justice endeavors. So the resources are also adequately important. You need to have trained and skilled and sensitive people who are going to assist them. And a lot of public awareness is important in terms of laws, regulations, as well as the victimization and the impact of victimization on the people. So it's not going to change the scenario of the victims in any nation in a year time or a couple of years time. It takes decades for any change to happen. But it's important to all of us in this current generation to start thinking on those lines and then build enough resources and equip ourselves with the requirements of being sensitive and empathetic towards the victims and then communicate the same with the fellow human beings. I came here today and I'm advocating for the cause of setting up a Center for Victimology in your university. I'm talking and I'm serious about this. So it is a duty on all of us to also advocate the cause of the fellow human beings who have endured a lot of pain and harm and suffering. So it's our responsibility to take care of their needs. So these are our parents, these are our mother, sister, brother, these are all our fellow human beings. It's important to shoulder that responsibility. So setting up institutions where the support can be made available, raising public awareness in terms of victims, victim studies, victimological challenges, victim needs, victim reactions, and mobilizing the resources that are required and pushing the governments to make laws in a way that they are victim friendly. So all of this as a collective efforts can change the status of victims and our societal response towards the victims and victims' reactions. I hope I answered your question. Is it okay? Thank you.
Yeah. Next, will you please?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Selamat siang. Suprabat, Maganda Wika Umaga, Annyeonghaseyo. Please, I want to introduce myself. My name is Jeremiah Utagalung. Right now in second semester, Magister of Law. In front of a great people like Mr. Banu Prakas, Mr. Elmer, Mr. Ha Kongkang, right? And one victimology and social politics and consultant business, a great people. And I'm today very proud and honored. I want to ask to all, Mr. Prakas, Mr. Elmer, and Mr. Ha. My first question is genocide, victimology. Why every country close eyes about Israel, Palestine? Please, my question. And war, Ukraine versus Russia, make impact recession in global country. Recession, global country. Genocide, victimology, social politics can make World War III impact from this war. Mr. Elmer said World War III, and maybe World War III can happen. And to Mr. Ha Kongkang, I'm very nice to meet you, and I want, what do you think about your neighbor, North Korea, your President Kim Jong-un? What do you think about the people? Because you said Indonesian a great neighbor. About your neighbor is North Korea. What do you think about your country? Maybe enough question for me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida.
So the question is there any impact, yes, between the war in Russia and then Ukraine with the business? Yeah, that's the question. All of, yes. Is there any impact? Is there any impact, the war in Russia, between Russia and Ukraine with the victimology and then Philippines and then the business? Yep. Okay, you may start your answer.
Very, very interesting question. Yep. Yes, I would say as people of this world, there is a concept in India where we call it as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This is a Hindi phrase. It means we as one world, we belonging to one world. Okay, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we're all one family, one world, one family. So from that sense, yes, definitely if there is something which is unacceptable and traumatic, so traumatic and affecting happening at some part of the world, as human beings, we're naturally affected by what's going on in the other part of the world. That's definitely understood. But I would say the impact of crime, impact of war crimes, as much as they are very localized, involving the people who are fighting, but it is also transnational. It can get transmitted to the fellow countries because we are all exposed to this information day in and day out with the social media or the mainstream media platforms. We are exposed to this information. So vicariously, we all get affected by this, what is happening in the other part of the world, Russia and Ukraine, what is happening there. Because we have access to this information, so we get bothered. If I open a newspaper today or open my phone and read the news about Ukrainian women are being raped by Russian army or Russian women are being raped by Ukrainian army, vice versa, I get bothered. I get affected by this news. So from that sense, psychologically and vicariously, we are definitely get bothered by it. But I would see a lasting impact of these war crimes on Ukrainians and Russians in the coming years. In the coming future, you would see a lot of PTSD in people who fought in these nations. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, usually seen in army people who fought crimes, who fought wars. So they undergo post-traumatic stress disorder. And rape victims also have PTSD. They will have these psychological disorders following the victimization. So from that sense, psychologically, we'll have a lot of impact on these war situations and war crimes that are happening in Russia and Ukraine, not just in Russia and Ukraine, but across the globe. I've heard news about the military being deployed from other nations into Ukraine to fight Russian army. So it's not just restricted within the Russia and Ukraine. It is spreading to the world around. And the fear of having a global war, fear of having a World War III, right, with the situations escalating, can also have a huge psychological impact on people who are witnessing to this news. Yes, definitely victimology also play a very important role. Once the war is over, you also need to reconcile. You also need to make peace. And that process is not going to be easy. You need mediators in terms of mitigating and litigating these war crimes and making resolutions in terms of peace between both these nations. So there is a lot of work for victimologists, psychologists, social works, lawyers, right, even in this area of war crime and war situations. So post-war also, to make matters very much peaceful, we need a lot of involvement of victimology, victimological sense of understanding in terms of resolving these crises and de-escalating these situations. Thank you.
Okay. Firstly, I'm not from the North Korea. I'm from the South Korea. Okay, Korea Slatan. Okay. I think your question was: is there any impact because of the Russia and Ukraine war, right, for our business? That the first one, the negative one is that last time almost 1.5 last year, November or December, the US dollar currency was so expensive comparing with Korean won. But US dollar price comparing with the Indonesian rupee, not so expensive, very stable. You know what is the difference? Because Korea, we have to import many natural resources like oil and then coal, even the crude palm oil, many things to produce our product. But Indonesia, as I told you that in the beginning stage, Indonesia has very rich coal and then crude CPO palm or nickel, even whatever. That's why that is the difference between Indonesia and Korean currency prices. That so because of that, Indonesian manufacturer, they got very severe impact because of the hike of the natural resource prices. Because and then if they export their product to the overseas, they have to include the price of the natural resources, but they cannot. But if they will include, add up more, their competitiveness is weak. So, for last November and December, many Korean companies, they suffered because of that. But Indonesia, the impact was not so strong, not so severe like that. But positive one, after finish of the war between Russia and Ukraine, now many Korean construction company, there will be big market for the construction from the disaster of the war. So if the war is finished within 1 year, maybe it will be finished by end of this year. Next year, there will be big market of the construction boom. So many Korean companies, they anticipate there will be big market within 1 year. I think that can be your answer for your question.
Mr. Ardian, I need to answer. I think victimology is very interesting to student faculty of law and magister of law, and I think it need to be development at Pamulang University. Thank you.
The question about the effect of the Russia-Ukraine war in the Philippines is somehow shared also, not just by us, but even with the other countries close with the same status. We all know that we are still in the pandemic before the declaration of war of the two countries, but this is how I am going to tell you how are we affected by the war. It's very simple. The price of the oil went up double, and then the instant effect, ladies and gentlemen, is since it is a basic commodity, then eventually all the prices of the commodities also increased. So since there are significant number of Filipino people who are not that really earning that much, so the consumption was cut, and then the spending was greatly affected, and then some lost their jobs. Let me just inform you also, ladies and gentlemen, that there are so many Filipinos who are working abroad as workers. So because of that, some were forced to go home and then find again to have the opportunity to be taken again in our country. So basically, it's the economy. With politics, there's not much effect, but when it comes to their livelihood, when it comes to their job, okay, almost all were affected because we have to spend more, like the daily fare, the food, transportation, and even the tuition in the universities and even in the primary and then secondary level went up also because of that. So that's more that I can say.
Okay, that's the answer. So, I think the time is going to be over. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of the panel session. Before close the panel session, I'd like to thank the speaker for the informative, interesting presentation and all participants, a very active participation. Finally, once again, give applause for all of us today. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We back to the MC. Yep.
We would like to express our gratitude to all plenary speakers and our moderator who has given us knowledge. We will presenting gift or certificate of appreciation by Rector and all Vice Rector, witnessed by CEO of Pamulang University, and photo session, we please.
Kameranya, kamera.
Mereka juga posisi masih di atas. Stay on the stage getting Okay. Please stay on the stage. Okay, please stay on the stage. We can to get you photo together with seluruh mahasiswa, mahasiswi. Setelah kita tutup closing nanti, kita akan foto bersama. Jadi teman-teman seluruh mahasiswa dan mahasiswi posisikan ada di bawah dengan pembicara nanti ada di atas bersama lecturer. Seluruh dosen dan pembicara nanti setelah kami closing dapat naik ke atas panggung. Nanti teman-teman seluruh mahasiswa berada di bawah, kita lakukan foto bersama. Terima kasih. We are closing now? Okay. Okay. Ya. Oke.
Untuk operator, tolong naikkan layar.
Oh ya, ambil dari atas ya. Operator bisa close untuk roll layar yang di belakang untuk ditutup? Ya Pak? Jatuh di belakang. Oke, baik Pak, siap. Mas, ya? Ya, kita
bawa ini.
Kita closing dulu kali.
Jadi, ayo Pak. Tadi dia, Aziz. Ya, Bro.
Yuk, Bu.
Mahasiswa silakan berdiri ya Pak Yoyon, semua dari dan diambil semua, nanti dari belakang kita akan foto bersama.
Mahasiswa dipersilakan untuk berdiri karena kita akan foto bersama.
Tetap di tempat, seluruh mahasiswa tetap di tempat. Jadi kita akan lakukan sesi foto bersama dari belakang. Jadi kita menghadap belakang ya Pak Yoyon?
Iya.
Iya.
Ke sebelah sana Bu. Nah, berarti. Lagi geser ke sana Bu. Pak Yoyon tengah.
Enggak usah, saya udah bosen, ada kaki.
Ada Pak Yoyon mah.
Iyalah.
Untuk roll layar yang ada di belakang mohon ditutup Bapak. Roll yang di belakang kamera ini, screen-nya mohon digulung. Screen yang ada di belakang mohon digulung. Terima kasih.
Mas Hadi, screen belakang ditutup, mau dipoto seluruh audiens. Mas Hadi, screen di belakang bisa dinaikkan. Kameramen mau take gambar? Ya, take picture. Nanti langsung mereka diumumkan yang jam 1 paper ya.
Mari seluruh mahasiswa bisa menghadap ke depan, kita foto bersama ya. Menghadapnya ke sini, iya betul. Tuh, kameramennya ada di atas.
Kameramen ada di atas, di bawah layar.
Agak mundur sedikit biar lurus katanya. Pulang aja yuk. Mahasiswa boleh maju ke depan yang mau. Nanti nggak kelihatan, jangan.
Malah nggak usah maju, ya. Lebih baik di bawah, nanti akan lebih kelihatan.
Oke,
ya, oke, disebutkan
saya ya.
Oke.
Saya akan hitung. 3, 2, 1. Boleh kita angkat tangannya sama-sama ya, kayak gini ya, di kepala tangannya ya. Jaya, 3, 2, 1. Oke, thank you.
Terima kasih.
Dipersilakan untuk mahasiswa duduk terlebih dahulu.
Mohon
jangan
duduk kembali.
meninggalkan auditorium karena ada pengumuman. Ayo MC.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with the closing of this event, the moderator says, we are reaching the end of agenda. This is the time to have a coffee break, lunch, and zuhur prayer. To all presenters and authors who have been separated into rooms, please enter respective rooms at
1:30 for parallel classes in the third floor. And please return to the teleconference room at 5 p.m. for the announcement of best paper and best presenter.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are reached to the end of our agenda. Let's recite Hamdalah together. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Finally, from the deepest of our heart, I do apologize for my mistakes in presenting this event. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Big applause for us. Sedikit pengumuman bagi seluruh mahasiswa. Setelah ini silakan keluar, kita ambil snack. Setelah itu lakukan istirahat silakan. Nanti selanjutnya kita merapat ke bagian masing-masing untuk di ruangan yang telah ditetapkan bagi yang akan mengikuti parallel session. Oke, terima kasih. Silakan mengambil snacknya di depan. Terima kasih.